for the
It
good.
has worked for the good, and I hope that the same vigor, the civic education that also we have been witnessing on the social media platforms. Let me point, even as we continue, the issue with the deal between Kenya and an Indian firm for the refurbishment, or is it construction of a new terminal at the JKIA.
Yes.
No one knew about it up until it was brought up in one of those social media exposés, and then all of a sudden now the government is now coming out. The president is talking about it, the prime cabinet secretary is talking about it, Kenya Airports Authority is talking about it. Yet before, we didn't know about it.
It was a non-issue.
It was a non-issue.
Very
But now all of a sudden, yes, we are not selling. Oh, yes, indeed, we are having a PPP, public-private partnership. Yes, indeed, we are into this deal with this Indian firm. So where was public participation? Where was transparency? Where was, informing the people that, because JKIA is a national asset. A huge infrastructure for the nation. So why not involve the people? So that was brought out by someone.
Not even the opposition.
Not even the opposition. It's then now, after it was exposed, now the opposition member, a member of the opposition, took it up and now is running with it. So that's what I'm saying. And many people actually, they were saying, Mimi, niachie this. Me, I want to handle this. There's one who is fully focused on the issue of IDs and passports. There's another one who is focusing on the sports ministry. Others when I say mimi niachie. So you see, and I love that. That people are willing to, to go to every length to ensure good governance, to ensure integrity, and systems are working for the people of Kenya. So whoever is in government or out of government, for me, I really don't care. Whoever is in government, are you ready to work?
That's true.
Because we will hold you accountable.
And I feel the beauty of what Gen Zs are doing is not only putting the government that is in place on toes, but also the opposition. Reminding them that we can't be here doing your work.
No. Epana. All right.
Okay.
Looking at other stories on The Nation, still on the front page, but covered on page 7. CS nominees haunted by ghosts of their pasts, allegedly shady dealings, unresolved cases, questionable conduct, and weak track records were among hurdles that were erected in the path of cabinet nominees in their quest to join the Kenya Kwanza government during vetting yesterday, and that is covered on page 7. And so you can read that on page 7 of those who were vetted yesterday. And then I see new details on chopper crash. Major retired Charles Wachira was part of a team appointed to probe the 2010 chopper crash that killed Internal Security Minister George Saitoti. He reveals never told before details of the horror crash. That is a story you can read on pages 2 and 3. Hey, time is flying. 2010 was the year. So you can read that on page 2 and 3. Economy, state's aviation revenue up 59% on more flights. State revenues from aviation grew by 59% in the year to June 2023 as airports handled more than 11 million passengers with flights hitting a 4-year high. It's a story that you can read on page 17. Then we can get to see what's also covered inside the Daily Nation. Then this is on the county news. Governors on the spot over skewed hiring practices. Governors have been put on notice over the lack of ethnic diversity in their workforce, with the Senate embarking on an audit of county payrolls. I also see no end in sight to counties' border row amid dispute over NLC report. The NLC had said that Taita Taveta had lost the towns to Makueni and Kwale counties respectively. So you can read that story on pages 14.
right.
The international news, renewed rioting breaks out across British cities in wake of child murders. I also see France tells citizens to leave Iran and Lebanon amid looming war. Regional tensions have soared following the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas's top leader. And France has called on its citizens in Lebanon to take advantage of the fact that there are still commercial flights available and for them to vacate that nation. The DN2 pullout, the junior sport. Music makes learning fun. Carol Nedi joined the music club at school to nurture her passion for song and dance. It's a story you can get on the DN2 pullout on page on the DN2 pullout. The business section of the Daily Nation.
Yes.
Farms get 6-month deadline to have local web listing. Top companies handling critical services such as telecommunications and security have 6 months to register their web addresses on Kenyan internet domains, the CAK has said, in a strategy aimed at safeguarding their cyber safety. Then I see states aviation revenue up 59% on more flights. That's also a story you can read on the business section. The back page, they have some sports news from the 2024 Paris Olympics. Kipyegon takes leap of faith, leads Kenya's charge to 5,000 meters gold today. Quadrennial Games enter the 10th day in French capital city with Kenyan athletes at the heart of the action. Double Olympic champion launches journey to double gold with Ethiopia's Gudaf Dutch woman Sifan Kenyan teammates spoiling for a fight, and we wish her the very best today. Omanyala wasn't successful last night. On page 31, high stakes as Spain battle Morocco for place in final. The European champions are targeting a second straight final appearance after their exploits in Tokyo 2020. So Tokyo Games silver medalist Spain take on Morocco today, aiming to reach a second consecutive Olympic men's football final and avenge a painful World Cup last 16 loss to the African side 2 years ago. I also see Algeria's Nemu wins historic gymnastics gold. In boxing, Los Angeles hopeful boxing can make 2028. And then Ugandan runner will come up against world record holder Chepkoech from Kenya in the water and barriers race. Prayer Ade keeps Uganda's Chemutai focused on steeplechase title defense. Olympics 3,000 meters steeplechase champion says prayer is key pillar of a professional athletics life as she prepares to compete against the stars in Paris. You can read that on page number 30. And then I see junior starlets players light up national games in Kisii, and ex-Kakamega coach Muinamo eyes glory with Musingu boys. The teacher of English and literature is pursuing a PhD degree in applied linguistics at Masinde Muliro. He left the Green Commandos in 2018. I also see Okutoi begins title defense in Kenya Open Tennis Championship. That is a story you can read on pages 29. Exclusive, extensive coverage of what's happening in the world of sports.
All right.
Yep.
And quickly, let me go through the Standard. And the very top story here is pain of defending Ruto and his ways. Raila Odinga's deputies tried to put up a show. They staggered between their hardline opposition against the government and the need to assuage their new boss. They never suffered indigestion for having to eat their words in the name of prescribing an elixir to the many issues facing the country. And this is a story on page 6. I see Weekly for Paranya on the same saying about the Hustler Fund. I think this fund, if well managed, is a fund that will help our people. Hassan Joho saying only a fool does not change his mind. I have been a big critic of this government. Now I have an opportunity to create a difference.
I tell you.
Oh my goodness. Well,
change of tune.
It's
called change of tune.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some few years ago they were bashing the government.
Bashing and all that.
And picking faults with the government. I remember when the cabinet that was dissolved. I remember when the names were tabled in Parliament. John Mbadi, the now Treasury CS nominee, he said, if Ruto, this is what the Ruto wants, let us give him the skunk that he wants. Now he was asked, are you are you a skunk yourself?
I mean, right now it's so hard to tell.
Oparanya also, he said, I would rather retire than work with Ruto.
That's what they're saying. Those are their words. They have eaten them. They have digested them.
My friend. Hey.
And they have taken them out. They have no problem with indigestion.
I tell you.
But anyway, moving on, I see page 2, Gen Z's plot new round of demos as Ruto Raila parties fight fires. This is what is being expected this very week. The youth are planning protest dubbed Nane Nane March for Thursday. This week on Thursday, UDA and ODM are grappling with internal wrangles after agreeing to work together. So now it has heightened to a whole different level. And of course, 4 is the number of ODM leaders who have nominated to join Ruto's cabinet. These are John Mbadi, Treasury, Opio Wandai Energy, Hassan Joho Mining, and of course, Wycliffe Oparanya Cooperatives. And page 3 is a very interesting story that it's amazing how it has been given prominence because it's about more young mothers adopting to bottle feeding instead of breastfeeding. And quite unfortunately, I see why Remo 19 lost her newborn after just 2 weeks, a devastating outcome she attributes partly to her lack of knowledge about the proper infant feeding. It is being said that when you give a child, a really young child between 0 and 6 months cow milk, the body is not made to digest it. So sometimes when women are fearing, my body, how is it gonna look and all that, it's actually putting the child in danger because breastfeeding, that breast milk is the only milk that the child can easily digest and helps them even to avert things like, a pneumonia and all these diseases that can catch a child when they're very, very young. So it's important for women to understand the importance of, running away from bottle feeding in the first infant, months and resulting to breastfeeding, which is much better. Also creates a connection because it's really sad that 3 out of 10 infants are now bottle fed in their first 24 months. So bottle feeding has increased from 22% to 34%. And this is there are mothers who have even lost their children because of not being aware and not, having awareness of the same. So that's a story on page 3 for new moms. I believe that will be important. And page 4, skeletons of Adani's dark past exposed as JKIA takeover looms. So the dark past is being exposed. Each and every single day, something new is coming up. I see here Hindenburg Research Forensic Report saying our investigation reveals that Adani Group has been involved in aggressive accounting practices and use of offshore entities to obscure financial deals. This is really, really sad. And you see here what is being said is that Adani has also demanded the establishment of a fund by the state to cover damages if the JKIA deal is terminated regardless of the reasons. The plan keeps Kenya's 38 airports stagnant and prevents development of new airports without Adani's approval, a deal which President Ruto has publicly defended. So look at this story on page 4. Yani ni kama kujiingiza kwenye moto. Na sasa huwezi jitoa because when a contract is involved, it's
if you
hard
breach
to
that
pull out.
contract, there are consequences.
You wonder how was this decision made and what was put on the table. But anyway, we continue to follow up on the same. Page 6, ODM leaders eat their words at pains to defend Ruto's policies. It's what we covered on the top page. And I see page 7, Ruto's richest nominee defends himself against narcotics claims. And of course, that is Hassan Joho Mwenyewe, whose net worth is at 2.3 billion as of now. So
only
like 2.3 billion only. Page 7 is that story. Page 8, Muturi denies his advice was ignored while serving as AG. Interesting. Former speaker says press misquoted him. He avers the Attorney General's office advises all government departments all the time. And this is on page 8. And 801 million is the money Public Service Cabinet Secretary nominee Justin Muturi is worth.
How much?
801 million. Wow. Yeah, that's what he is worth. just mere change. A story on page 8. Let me quickly go to the sports, and I see Chep Koech sets stage for another showdown in Bahrain's Yavi. Cherotich also books slot in women's steeplechase final as Kenyans seek to stop world and Olympic champions. Two-time Olympic champion Kipyegon set to make history as she eyes 5,000-meter gold today. We wait and see how that plays out. We wish all our Kenyan athletes all the best in their marathons.
All right, a Business Daily quickly. KRA fined KCB Spire Bank 2 billion shillings for remitting tax late. Penalties were enforced in year ended June 2023. Taxman has had rows with lenders over collection agency role. I also see EPRA caps Kenya Power National Grid deal to 10 kilowatts of solar. So households and businesses with solar power installations above 10 kilowatts have been locked out of a special scheme allowing consumers who generate their own power to supply electricity to the national grid in times of overproduction and get compensated for energy dispatched. Real estate trade top banks first quarter loan defaults. Businesses in real estate, trade and agriculture sectors hit banks with 30.9 billion shillings loan defaults in 3 months ended March, topping the list of defaulters amid a rise in interest rates. And then deposit rate hits 25-year high as banks woo savers. So commercial banks have raised interest on deposits for the 9th straight month to an average rate last seen 25 years ago in bid to entice savers in the wake of attractive returns from other asset classes, including government paper. That is covered in the Business Daily.
Beautiful. Now we've come to the end of our newspaper review. We're now going to leave space for the video of the day. Let's have a look.